comes to immigration reform, what's really alarming to me is that we continue to think that China is our #1 trading partner, and that they're creating all the jobs, but they're not. And that they're investing, they're not the only ones investing. We have.
If anyone serves in our military and they're an immigrant, if you're willing to come to our country and you want to serve in our military, that's a surefire, swift way to become a citizen. And that's, frankly, it's being blocked right now. There's a courageous Republican in the Central Valley who just introduced legislation on this. Congressman Denham, Republican, Central Valley, introduced legislation 2 weeks ago to say, if you're an immigrant, undocumented, but you're willing to serve in the military, you can become a citizen. And his party's blocking it. And he's taking a lot of heat for that. And that's just not right. I think if you're willing to take the oath of allegiance to the United States and go out there and be willing to die for our freedom, you're just as much of an American as anyone else I've ever met. So we have a broken system, and it needs to be fixed, and I'll continue to stand up in the Congress to make sure it is. I recently fasted for 24 hours with the Fast for Families movement. This is a movement that's going across the country, and these are immigrant families who are fasting to show solidarity for all the families that live in fear every day. And so I'll continue to work in the Congress until we have comprehensive immigration. This is another story of immigrants. Don Pulveron Bakery in Hayward, those two brothers started that bakery. They came to the United States and were working in a bakery, and thought they could make more money if they took everything they earned and saved and started their own bakery. And now they employ and sign the front side of the check for about a dozen employees. So with that, I will wrap it up and take some questions from the group. It's been a thrill to serve in Congress. And as I said, my goal, what motivates and inspires me, is to expand that freedom to dream, whether it's for the child who grew up in the area where no one in their block has ever gone to Congress, or the immigrant who came here and wants to realize their own American success story, or the senior who doesn't think that they're done working and wants to find a new way to support themselves and their family. Expanding that freedom to dream is what motivates me and what empowers people. So with that, thank you again, Eric, for inviting me, and I'd be happy to open it up to any questions.
Absolutely. Let's open it up to questions. Jose?
I think in private investments, it's a different equation, but for federal contractors, I do support, just because I happen to believe that when we ensure prevailing wages are paid, that lifts and builds our middle class. And I'm just afraid that without project labor agreements, that we would drive down wages, and that would further exploit workers.
I understand, but we could talk about this.
Yeah, happy.
But remember, Davis-Bacon Act mandates that everybody gets paid prevailing wage. We're non-union, but we pay prevailing wage. We pay union scale. But what the project labor agreement does, it forces me to be union if I want to bid and build that particular contract. As a taxpayer, why in the world do I have to be a union company in order to build a school in my own school district?
Yeah, when I was in Dublin, what I pushed for was also for any city contract to have a local hire provision. And because what we were seeing was a lot of these projects, they were bringing in workforce from the Central Valley or down south, paying the workers much less, and people who worked in the construction trades in our area who were out of work looking for jobs they were hurt, and they were being kind of underbid by cheaper out-of-town labor. So I wanted to have some sort of protection in it, but we can talk offline about it.
Councilman.
Well, I first want to thank you for coming out, even though I'm not in your district. I have George Miller and
I'm sorry,
Mike
Lisa.
Thompson, I know. It's very refreshing to see that you are very interested in immigration reform. Given your district, your demographics really don't reflect. At least I don't think it does. But I'm really excited as a Mexican-American woman to see that you are taking interest in this. Eric said we don't have that much time, but I actually had 6 items. But just broad level is employment policy with the workforce. You know, that gap between women and the workforce and equity pay, a lot of it has to do with being career women raising children. And the policy's not reflecting because we have the primary responsibility of raising children and also having a career, and employment law policies don't allow for these flexible schedules. So that's number one, that it's somewhere in your radar, and maybe offline we can talk about. Second is education, especially for Latinos. I would really love to partner with you, and Eric and I are working offline on creating a Latino political action committee, because Latinos need to be represented politically, and it's not reflected in the policymakers. And I think we have a responsibility to be, and it's great, even though you're not Latino, I love that you're taking on a lot of these initiatives, but I think we need to see more elected officials in office that are representative of what the demographics are doing, especially in California. On education, again, we are going to be the majority in California very soon, and we just don't have that representation. And I think through this political action committee, I'd like to hopefully have you partner with us as well. Yeah, how we can do that. Another piece is housing. Housing is a huge critical piece to your immigration reform, along with the education. And then lastly, I mean, the gentleman hit on it, the nail on the head. We don't have good relationships with Mexico. Mexico is such a huge resource. We have a highly educated workforce there, contrary to what the general population thinks. And I would love, again, being the first Latino woman to be elected in Martinez, that we really do need to strengthen our relationship and not just see Mexico as the Mexican cartel, because we have a lot more to offer than that. And Congress is just ignoring us, in, south of the border. So again, I'd love to see some leadership in that and try to mobilize other Congress members here in California to really get out of the Middle East. Let's focus south of the border. So. Again, thank you again. Very excited about your interest in immigration reform, and anything I can do as a policymaker to support that, along with my district representative, I would love to help you with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Congressman Swalwell, well, congratulations. I'm very impressed on what you're doing, and being young, that's really important to us. Definitely, but it's important for a lot of people. There's a lot of Latinos, young professionals that want to get involved, engaged, civically engaged. They don't know how. We're working with them, and I think that seeing you as a young congressman, that is great. I have a question in regards to immigration reform. There are steps moving forward, but how do you feel as far as really pushing for a stay on deportations? Because I think that's, being that the immigration is broken, if the system is broken, still constantly people getting sent to Mexico, families broken apart. And so that's one of the biggest issues that when I talk to a lot of the people, I'm from Sonoma County, we have a large Latino population over there. I think we're everywhere. Yep. And so how do you feel about something like that?
I support it, and I've talked to the last 2 Secretaries of Homeland Security in our committee, Secretary Johnson, the current one, Secretary Napolitano before, and what I'm asking of them, what I've asked them in these public hearings is keep removing and deporting the violent criminals. But the way that they are defining criminals is it's really disturbing. And we pointed this out to them, that they so they'll say, oh, the overwhelming majority of immigrants we're deporting are criminals. But when we break down what they define as criminal, if you are cited for driving without a license, they count you as a criminal. If you are small offenses, driving without insurance, or a hit and run because you're afraid that you'll get in trouble. Those are counted as criminal offenses. So you know what? Remove and deport the sexual assault offenders, the robbers, the violent assaults that occur. But for the rest of the offenses, the minor offenses, and then the whole category of people who haven't committed any crime at all, I would say, let us stay on it. Let's let comprehensive immigration reform pass. And I'll say this, it's only a matter of time. It is only a matter of time until this dam breaks. Because three things usually make something move in the Congress or in politics. One, usually if it's the right thing to do. If that's not enough, if it makes economic dollars and cents. And if that's not enough, if politically it makes sense to do it. Well, we know it's the right thing. We know the economic value of having immigration reform. That hasn't persuaded my colleagues on the other side to do it. I think what it's going to take is the political force and the political winds are going to show them that there's going to be a huge penalty to pay if they're not on the right side. So it's just a matter of time, and they are literally they are trying to push a rock up a mountain right now. And gravity is against it.
It's my job to get the congressman out of here on time. I'll allow 1 minute though, Carlos, and
Eric,
counter.
please decouple the extension of unemployment benefits from the minimum wage matter. Okay, I work for I do consulting work for NeighborWorks America. We work a lot in foreclosure. The folks, the first question they're asked is, can you make up the last 3 months' payments to avoid foreclosure? Those 3 months of payments sit on your desk. Extend the unemployment or please extend those unemployment benefits so folks don't have to go through foreclosure. Economic event is felt all through the county, through the town, everywhere else, and they end up, those folks most likely will end up with taxpayer assistance at some point. So let's get it done.
Yeah.
It's not that tough.
And it was only coupled on that screen for the bullet points. It's not in the Congress. It's not coupled.
Fair enough. And let me say one thing. When I see you with a picture of your mother, all right, I know that your list of things that you wanted to get done, that you were thinking about at that moment, are much different than the list of things that have not been done. So I asked you to mention that you are young. I heard today that young people are management today. Do it. Get it done.
We will.
Just do it.
We're not going to adjourn the meeting yet, but let's give them a round of applause. San Ramon Services District, thank you for joining us this morning. If I could have the board of directors come up, committee members for our government affairs, we're going to do a quick photo. Johnny will do closing remarks, and we're going to try to get you